Did I record?
Yes.
Okay, let's go. Hitting the Sunday walk again. I'm so excited.
Oh, I look forward to this every week.
Oh, look at this weather.
It's so beautiful out here.
I wish these guys could feel how awesome this temperature is.
Temperature's perfect. It's so green. The birds are chirping. And every time I walk out of my front door, I'm just so grateful.
So it was a good week this week.
Oh my gosh, it's an exciting week.
We got to decide what we're going to talk about. There's so much.
There is so much, and there's so much growth. I think that's the crazy thing, is you think, oh gosh, when I hit 52, I'm going to be schooled. I'm going to know exactly what life's about, and here we are, growing and changing on a weekly basis, and it's just absolutely been
Well, we got some exciting things to talk about later with our team growth. Won't mention it right now. I guess it won't matter when we post this thing, but I'm excited for the growth. Going to dinner with Eric and Michelle was super awesome last night.
That was fun. It was so much fun. I feel like we're really coming out of our shell of being alone, and in the past it really wasn't something we did very much, was actually socialize with other people, because we were always working so hard, and our family kept us super busy, and so this has been a real change for me, and it's actually so much fun because I haven't.
Damn dog.
Like,
Leash.
totally. Here you go, like this.
Yeah.
There you go. Perfect. But yeah, it's been my life altering the last few weeks, and just not
Well,
something-
one of my favorite things the last week was our team meeting with our kids. Well, I mean, we have team meetings before, but it seems like we connected super awesome with them, and all got on the same page. We're taking them to Dallas in August for Tony Robbins. I don't know, those are just kind of cool things to do as a family that we haven't done before, and I'm really excited that we have that.
I think my big aha with a family was that we're looking at some statistics that Jeff and I have within the real estate, and anyway, it was just what changed was looking at where a number was and then saying, you know what, the expectations we have of our family or of ourselves are just not normal. And so
What do you mean?
when I say just not normal, we aren't just average Joe. That's just, we've always been super driven. We've always wanted to get better at everything we do. And so we put that expectation on everyone else that's around us. And so having that meeting and listening to how all three of our kids' minds work, it's like it's so much fun, because getting to know each other on a different level as adults instead of them just being our kids, their minds all work so differently, and how excited they are to be part of what we're doing is what makes me happy, because it's always been about legacy for me. And
That's one of the things I have regret about is I didn't get to know my dad as an adult. I was only 24 when he died, and we didn't have those good discussions. We've been having them for years with our kids, and I think it's mainly because what we didn't have. Hey, good morning. And so being purposeful about that, and having those conversations so that they understand where we're coming from as a kid, and then when they get older, they're like, oh, now I get it. Ashley said some things lately, some of the posts she's doing and stuff, and she's like, yeah, Mom, one of them was Mom always told me I was perfect. And she kind of took that as a negative thing because she knew she wasn't perfect, and it's like, Mom's not telling me the truth. You remember that post?
I absolutely do. And as a parent, when you're trying to do differently than your parents did, you say things that you feel, and you want your kids to grow up strong, but then they can take their own negative self-talk and
No, I think it's more than that. I think what I learned from her is what you mean by she's perfect. Because now she's talking about Skylin, and she's like, yeah, Skylin, she's not perfect, but she's perfect to her. She's an individual, and I love you just the way you are type of is what you mean by you're perfect. Not like, oh, you're perfect, you never do anything wrong, you never have any bad thoughts, you never struggle about your emotions, blah, 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 blah. So isn't it interesting though that she took that almost as a negative thing. Quit telling me I'm perfect. I'm not perfect. And so she beat herself up over
She
it.
never said it.
But now she gets it. Good girl, Des. Try and pull her on the other side of me. Now she gets it because she's got, how old Skyline? 4, 5? She just turned 5. And to me, that's what's exciting is the things that we do, if we've done them purposefully, don't always resonate at the time with our kids or our friends or our teammates or whatever. And then at some point they look back and they, oh, that's what mom meant.
Or that's what
that's
Jeff
cool.
meant. And that, you know, that is the thing, is we don't know how people are taking the things that we say. And so I think thinking before we say things, or our own excitement, we can portray something that doesn't excite someone else. And so I agree with you. I wish I would have known my dad on a more personal level, and now I would ask those questions. I'm asking those questions of my mom right now because I really don't know my parents. Our kids know us.
Yeah.
They know our faults, they know our strengths, and they've learned a lot.
Sorry if we're squinting. We did last week's episode and Lynn had her sunglasses on the whole time and I was like, guys, you can't see your eyes. I can't feel your emotion. So now I'm talking to them, but I want to talk to you. But I'm just saying, we were in the car last week. You can go back and listen to last week's, but it was just kind of a learning experience. We're learning how to do this, and we're trying to be natural because our conversations, when we're just talking to each other, and that's why I'm looking at her, I want to talk to her because we connect when we're on these walks and we have conversations. And that's why we started doing this, because we're like, oh my gosh, that was pretty good. As we bring our energy together, we should share that. So we're trying to duplicate that. So if sometimes we're talking to the camera and sometimes we're talking to each other, or sound mechanical, is because this is new to us and we want people to just kind of go on this journey with us, because we're having a lot of fun. And so I want to have a conversation with her, and I want this to be kind of like you're eavesdropping, or it's like, ooh, you know, I'm just listening in on this conversation. What are they talking about? It's kind of intriguing that way. There's many people that I admire that I would love to listen in on some of their conversations.
Absolutely. I would love Grant Cardone and his wife, Elena. Oh, yeah.
Speaking of which,
I'd love to hear those conversations.
No. Yeah, sorry. You can finish that. But what that made me think of is, we talked about it last week, didn't we? The couples panel we're going to do?
Yes, we did.
So we're super excited about that. We have our team on board. Everybody that we wanted on that has said yes. And that's going to be on June 24th. So now we just got to pick our venue and get that advertised. But couples have a unique perspective on a lot of things.
They absolutely do. And, you know, a lot of people look at us, they say, oh, I would never be able to work with my spouse. And especially in this business where in real estate or real estate investing. What was that?
She wants to hit that rock.
Oh, well, you just told me to move over this way.
I know. Then I noticed she was pulling to the rock.
Okay. Well,
sorry, she's got her favorite rock she likes to pee on that she just passed. So.
Well, when you're on a thought and you're pulling a dog to the rock, it's hard to remember what your thought was. But anyway, what I was going to say is that with couples and business, there's so many different aspects to it, and there's different personalities, and there's also different education levels. And what we've noticed is that when people, there's different points in their life, and then there's like sometimes, not always, but sometimes there's this aha moment of, you know what, actually, we would be better as a team.
There's not even a crosswalk there, but people always stop for us.
Anyway, watching people when they finally realize, oh my gosh, we're doing this separately. And if we came together, not only will we have more fun together, we'll be able to talk together about the things we're passionate about, but also,
I'm looking at you because I want you to talk to me.
This is really funny.
I just said we're trying to talk to each other.
But you totally started off talking again.
I was explaining things.
Geez.
But it's more than just different education. Oh, don't step in there. It's more than that. It's like we're all at different stages of our life, right? And that's kind of why we decided to do the couples panel, is because people will resonate with where they are. I loved that real estate investor class we did because we were talking about our story. So we are where we are, but not one person in that room thought, oh, I want to be there like today, or I wish I had that portfolio of real estate, or I wish I had done that many flips. I wish my family worked for me. The very first kid that came up to me was talking about, and I might have talked about this last week, but he was like, wow, you were just kind of like outlining my life. I'm where you started and I can see where I can go. That's exciting. So the panel.
Wait, I got something to add to that. And then there was a beautiful woman that came up to me afterwards, just shining, smiling from ear to ear.
Lynn has to hold this. Sit down. I gotta go pick
Hey,
up.
when the dog goes number 2, it's a big deal. Anyway, she just came up to me, just smiling, eye to eye, and said, this hit us right exactly when we needed it. You know, my husband and I were sitting there, and you know, we weren't really enjoying ourselves a whole lot. Then we started listening, and what we saw was exactly where we want to go. And my husband said, well, I wish we would have done this when we were in our 20s. And she looked up at him and said, are you kidding me? Today's a new day. And she, that beautiful spirit of hers, you know, coming up to me and tears in her eyes, but also beaming. I was hoping that was going to be a pivotal moment for them to come together and work together for their future.
Yeah. So yeah, you connected with her pretty good. But what I was talking about was the fact that we all are at different spots in our life. You need to be on this side of me.
I understand that. The dog doesn't.
So our panel, I'm excited about that. Lynn and I have been, or you and I'm talking to you. I'm trying to learn to do this. But we've been together 31 years. We started in business together. We've never not really done business together except for small jobs individually, like as we were dating. And
Okay, remember, he's talking to you and not me again. You're telling them. We need to talk to each other like
I'm trying to talk to you. God, are you trying to make this more realistic by arguing?
No.
Which we do from time to time.
You're telling a narrative, and if we're talking together, we don't tell narratives. So.
What I'm saying is, what I like about the panel is we are in a certain spot in our life, and we've always been together. The idea of the panel is we know people that spent, like Eric, 15, 18 years in real estate by himself, while his wife had another job, career. She's very smart, educated, she's a nurse, this and that, and now she's joined his team. Their whole life has changed.
They were
I know
so
there's
on
people.
fire last night, so happy. I seriously haven't seen them so happy.
I know, and I know there's people that go, I wish I could work with my wife, or spouse, partner, whatever, and they're thinking, we couldn't make that work. How could we do that? I mean, to go from nursing to real estate, and now you're in business
I'm just
together.
so proud of her.
That's what's super cool.
So proud of her growth and how she's supporting Eric and Eric is supporting her, and it's just completely changed. But yeah, this week has been absolutely fantastic, and team meeting with the kids, team meeting with our team.
Lots to look forward to.
Happy and excited. I mean, 2020 put us all kind of in a weird place, and I think we all had to figure out, okay, where do we sit with what's happening? And I think the sun coming out and everyone being able to take off their masks if they're comfortable with it has really changed the mood of everybody, which I really love.
Yeah.
I know it has me anyway. I need people. I think that's the biggest thing that I've learned this year, is that people are super, super important in our lives, and taking each other away from each other is just really, really tough. We take it for granted. Well, I'm not taking it for granted anymore, and I also think that our trip to Cabo showed us, you know, literally that we only have one life to live, and we really need to live it too.
The main thing we're doing different, well, not different, but better, is communicating, because of this, because of our team building, because of those that are looking to us as leaders, to those that are counting on us. We're stepping up a little bit in a way that we haven't before, and it feels really, really good.
Wait, and why did that happen?
Wait a minute. The point I want to make is I saw that in Eric and Michelle last night.
Yes,
because their communication in the evenings, and this will be on the panel. Hopefully some of you are going to get to see that panel, or we'll record it or something. But one of the things that she mentioned was, or they both mentioned, they were talking about coming home. Remember, they come home at night, and Eric is a real estate agent. There's offers to be written. There's things to review. There's other agents to talk to. And Michelle had finished work. She was done. It's dinner time, it's family time. She wanted to be together, and Eric felt guilty about working. Now, it was funny, she says it's like she comes home and it can still be 8 or 9 o'clock, and she's like, don't you have somebody you need to call? Because she's engaged in that part of the business and actually understands it more. And I think that's the unfair advantage we have had working together, is when you're at the office till 10 or 11 and you're working with a client, or you're out showing properties. I don't wonder what you're doing. I know you're working the business.
Hey, the numbers show.
Well,
The numbers show,
true.
you know, and that's the fun thing is when
But I
you
get
start
it.
working together
Yeah.
and you start seeing numbers and you start seeing the success. I bet you anything those guys double their business. Even though she's a brand new agent, I bet they do.
Yeah, well, she brings a whole nother element, and that's why we work so well, is we're so different, obviously.
Well, the other couple, we won't tell you who that is yet, but the other couple, oh my gosh, I love them. I love them. When they started talking, I was like, oh my gosh, these are our people. And that's the fun of what we're growing here with EXP Real Estate, is that we're actually creating a community of like-minded people, and we're just, I don't know, it's making everything so fun.
Yeah.
It really is.
No, I love it. The funny thing is, too, since we started doing this Sunday walk, are your weeks going by like way faster? It's like, is it Sunday already again?
Already.
Really?
And you know, it really, it's helping me pay attention to the things that I'm learning during the week, so that I can talk to you about them on Sunday. Because normally we're just, you know, brainstorming away, and then we come up with some great idea and we just forget it.
we just wing it. That's what I was starting with when we left. I think I brought up that we just wanted this to be a conversation that somebody can listen in on, because I know as we started this, it's like, oh, you know, I think this would be great to talk about. So we talk about it, we get all excited, and there's a lot of energy. And you know what? I really want to make sure we mention this, because people will connect with that and they'll learn something from our experiences, because people don't need to go through every experience on their own in life. And that's what I love about some of our conversations, is the impact that somebody else can make on us and that we can make on them based on our experience. So they don't have to have it, but they can get the same outcome or learn the same thing. I don't know. It's awesome. So we're trying to just kind of act natural with a camera in front of us,
Well, it's really,
so we can have those conversations.
It's really fun
We'll get better.
to watch super successful podcasters and go back to their very first podcast and where they are now, you know, 100 episodes later.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not going to beat myself up for trying to figure this out. At least
Yeah.
we're doing it, and we're just hoping
I forgot to hit that
to touch
garbage
some
can.
lives and
No,
impact.
that's a big lesson in a lot of things, right? We were just talking about the couples thing and comparing ourselves to where somebody else is, or somebody else comparing themselves to where we are. It's true of the podcast, and so we're kind of pulling lessons from one experience to say, you know what, that applies to this too, because I've listened to Brandon, you know, my sponsor in EXP, and a good friend of mine that does podcasts, Brandon DeVere. He does podcasts, and he's always reminding me, it's like, you got to just get started. You can't look at somebody that's been doing it forever, much less, I mean, go back and look at Gary Vaynerchuk's first episodes, right? Or somebody that's just like seems so polished, and it's like, oh, I could never do that. And that's true. You could never do that today,
Right?
because you haven't put in the work that person's put in to get to where they are today. And that is freedom. That is like a realization. And I think what I love that Ashley, our kids, are seeing that. It's like, okay, I'm not so-and-so, but I'm here on the path where they were. And if I follow what they did, I'm going to get similar results.
Well, here's the thing. We could sit on the couch and we could watch TV all day or do absolutely nothing. The day's going to go by no matter what you do.
Yeah. One of our biggest changes since Cabo, we've had the TV on one time.
Turn it off. That's what we've done. We just turned it off, and we thought, oh, we're going to have so much more time in the day to spend together and go run in the mountains.
We
and
fill it with other stuff,
we've
right?
been filling it with really good stuff, but it's just different. And I haven't missed it at all. In fact, I've felt more on fire and healthier and better since we got back.
And that tank top looks good on me too.
Your tank top looks good on you too. You know what? This is a tank top I bought a long time ago because it's really how I feel.
Yeah.
But I never wore it. But you know what? Since we got back from Cabo, I have been doing a lot more.
It's not like we sucked before Cabo.
no,
I mean, we
sucked.
keep bringing that up
Never,
because it
never.
was like a
We're just 100% better than we were.
a
I feel
pivotal
like.
point for us. I call it a defining moment where we made some decisions, and we kind of are calling it a relaunch with certain things in our life that maybe we haven't been putting in the effort that we know that we're capable of. So we're having fun. And I love these walks. If I don't get this Sunday walk, I mean, I'm talking to you, but if I don't get this Sunday walk, it affects my whole week.
It's one of those things, someone says, hey, can you do this on Sunday? And I'm like, my husband and I have a date that we do certain things, and that can't be compromised.
It's worse than missing my weekly massage.
People, here's the thing, you guys, people talk about date nights, okay? I think date nights are amazing, but are you really together on those date nights? There are there are other people there. There's noise there. There's this is just my perception, and because Jeff is always trying to get me to go on a date night. But see, I'm one of those people that really likes to move. So what he did is he compromised, and that compromise was instead of going out to dinner or
a date night is just that. It's definable. It's like, what do you want to do on the date is what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. Date night doesn't mean going out to the theater and sitting for 90 minutes watching a movie.
That's true. That's
Date
true.
night just means spending time together.
Yeah.
And I think
with someone like me though that goes a million miles an hour in my head, those of you that have like ADD or anything like that, you get it. You know what I'm talking about. Someone's talking to you and you're actually seeing or hearing or all the things that you're not doing and your mind is not present. Well, these walks make it so that my walk is present. Yes, I take my phone, but if I ever get on it, I'm in a lot of trouble. So I can use it to take some pictures.
Okay, think about it. Some of you can relate to this. What I bring up to you all the time is when we're together and we're having a conversation and then you get on your phone to have a conversation with somebody that's not even here, that to me, it's either rude, disrespectful, or whatever you want to call it, because I want to be present.
Okay, so this is totally something a lot of people can resonate with
totally,
right here.
I know.
Because we get a lot of arguments about this. And you know what, when you're in the moment and your client wants to talk to you or somebody is sending you something, I like to be instantaneous. I'm like just one of those people that, and my girls have gotten this too.
And I'm like, nothing can't wait 15 minutes or 40 minutes or whatever while we finish.
I'm trying very hard to get that because people do realize I'm busy and I can't.
But here's the cool thing. Some people would just feel that way and fester about it and be upset, and then that turns into other arguments or disagreements or whatever. We tell each other.
That's really
huge.
Big
it's
thing.
like if I'm bugging you, you're better at this than I am, but you have no problem, pointing it out.
But
and if we're together,
I wasn't like that before. That's the change.
You were, but you're just more like that now because we've given each other permission, and that's a big change we've had. Is okay, if I say something, it doesn't mean that I want to be argumentative. This is a big one that has helped me too, because if I'm saying something, I don't even have an example at this point because I don't hold on to that shit. But if I say something and then you have a contradictory opinion, you say, no, it's not like that. I take that as combativeness and arguing and stuff, and I don't anymore. It's like we've given ourselves permission to hear each other out. It's like, well, why do you think that? I didn't mean it that way. Why are you taking it that way?
You know what I've realized? And it's crazy that I keep saying just lately because we have like really, really synced lately the last 4 weeks. Is I've realized that I love him so much because he is passionate. He does have a driver personality, and I wouldn't want to be with anyone else. So when he fights with me on maybe my idea isn't what he thinks it should be, I actually dig it.
Okay, here's the reality.
I actually dig it.
No, here's the reality. If I'm like really forceful on an issue or business or this and that, you're like, yeah, I love that personality. You don't love it as much when I'm that forceful on you, but until, like you said, till lately, you're just saying, okay, I like that part of the personality, but the way you're talking to me isn't working right now. And we've been talking it out. It's like amazing. And it's funny, I'm going to keep saying this until I don't, because this is new to us. But did I talk about this last week? That's what I was just thinking, because we went on a walk, just a shorter walk, right? Remember? And we disagreed on something right out the gate. You remember that one?
Oh yeah.
And it changed our energy completely.
Well, you were, to me, coming off forceful, I think, in the way you're talking to me, but you didn't realize you were.
Right, but here's the point I want to make. Yeah, however that happened, it happened. But we acknowledged it, and we said, we're going to change our state. We're going to change our mood by the time we get home. And when I say change our state, if everybody's listened to Tony Robbins, we kind of connected with him on that one thing. He's just like, you can change your state anytime you want. Yeah.
It really
Nobody
works.
knows what you just did.
I just hit my chest and I would have yelled, but he was talking.
Yeah. So a physical change of state and a mental change of state is what she's talking about. Tony Robbins talks about just slapping your chest and yelling, woo, or something like that. And it's like all of a sudden you shake out of what you were doing and you're in a new state. So we had agreed on that little walk. And this is something that other people can try too. It's just like, okay, this isn't working. Let's make sure that we kind of change our energy. We get on the same frequency. And by the time we get home, and literally because we were conscious about that, by the time we got home, remember, we were in a good mood, we were communicating like this, it was gone. It was just like, oh, I'm so glad we talked about that. Instead,
so awesome.
I would have carried that with me half the day at least.
I think we were supposed
and it
to
would
do
have
the
affected
panel
other
that
things.
night. We were supposed to do the panel that night.
And the sun's behind us, so I don't know how good this has even been looking, but anyway.
It looks great.
It's been a nice walk. Nice.
You know, as Jeff's talking, I'm thinking,
I need water though.
okay. So as he's talking, I'm thinking, you know, that seems kind of weird. You guys are having all of these aha moments 31 years into your marriage. I'm thinking, you know why? Because when we had the last recession in 2007 and beyond, when we almost lost everything and we had to fight, both of us, you know, we took the disc test during that period. We were so broken. Lynn wanted to be a driver. This guy,
Lynn wanted to be a driver, and at that time she didn't feel like one.
But my personality is not a full driver. You can tell because I love people so much, and I'm very empathetic to people, and just I have driver in me, but I'm not a full-on driver. But that's what I needed to be to get through that time. So both of us changed. Okay, so both of us, you got very broken, I got very broken, and all of a sudden it took us 10 years to actually be able to come full force to the people we were before that. And I think that's really important to explain to you guys because,
Well,
we have all of
let me
those
add one thing to that
changes.
first, because I learned that when people take those disc tests, depending on the mood they're in, they answer it either this is my true feeling, this is how I feel, I am like this. But if they're not happy with the way they are, they tend to answer it with the way they wish they were. They're answering the question and say, yeah, I'm like this because in my head, I want to be like this, I am like this, I'm just not feeling it currently. So anyway, my point is what I learned about those is taking those, you got to retake it at different times, seasons in your life, so that you can see that you actually change. You actually are maybe more empathetic and an S, a higher S at some points in your life, and you are a hard D when you're just on a mission and this and that, and that's
When you
okay.
have
When
to
people
be.
say this is what I am, and this is just for me,
Well, I agree with you.
I'm
And
not a constant, I'm not the same profile all the time, and that helped me, and it would help other people if they don't feel like they have to live up to something, that they can just acknowledge their emotions, their feelings, where they're at right then. Anyway, that was a big thing for me
But
with the
that's-
disc profile.
But I think that's why, you know, even though being together 31 years, it's really important for people to realize that no matter where they are in their marriage, I don't care if Jeff and I were 5 years into our marriage or 10 years into our marriage, there are different things that happen. And you know what? You don't always like each other. There's been times where we have really, really not liked each other. And it's just a matter of compromise. If we wouldn't have talked together and said, hey, this is not working for me. This is not working for me. How can we come together? If he always had to be, it all had to be Jeff's way or the highway, or my way or the highway, we would have never, ever made it through this marriage.
No, I'm excited that we're actually putting ourselves out there to communicate with other people, because we've had some personal conversation with people that are thanking us, that say, oh, I'm so glad to hear that you guys have gone through some shit too, because it's possible to get out of that. People look at us now and say, oh my gosh, they got the perfect family, they're in business together, their kids are so happy and this and that. But that's the Facebook story, right? That's what you see, and that's on the surface. And those that are close to us have gotten to know more about us. And now that we're doing presentations, we're doing stuff like this, I hope other people say, you know what, Jeff and Lynn are just real, they're authentic. There's good, there's bad, there's all kinds of emotions in there, successes, failures, everything. I don't want to be one of those people that just share our good times and our successes, and you know what I mean?
Well, what I'm trying to help people get out of what we're telling them is that you can do it too. that no matter where you are in your life, you can do it too. You can have what you want. You can
Here, hold this. I'm gonna go throw her bag away over here.
This is so fun. Isn't this gorgeous? I mean, you would never know that we're in Draper. It's like country out here. We're on a private lane. This is what Draper was like when we first moved here, just all horse property, but there was a lot of orchards, which most of them are gone now, but such a beautiful place to live. And check out those mountains. This is part of our grateful story.
Yeah. One of the things I want to do is go on some of our hikes and go in different areas.
All right.
But this little puppy right here, she can't go. She's 14. She can't go in some of the areas that we want to go on Sundays. So that won't be able to be a Sunday, but we've got a lot of beautiful places we like to go. And I don't know, we'll mix it up. But this is our normal Sunday walk leaving our house, and just to kind of share that with you as we left this morning. And we are going to try to just have our normal conversation, because we do kind of like the energy builds. Literally by the time we're here, we're just over talking each other and we're so excited. And I want that for people listening in so that they can get engaged like we get engaged, instead of it seem like, you know, it's kind of different when you're talking to somebody that's not really here. And sometimes we're looking up here and we're saying, hey, you guys, and we're talking to you. And I keep looking at her like this, and I keep doing this because it's like, talk to me. I'm right here. You know, good morning. And anyway, that's just kind of a fun evolution. Today's been a little bit better. But when I'm talking to you and you're talking to me, that's what I want them to experience, because I want couples to be able to duplicate that.
Life can be so much
Give each
fun.
other that personal attention.
Life can be so much fun. Now, not everybody thinks that working together or work is fun, and you don't have to. But this is just us, and this is how it works for us. And we love life. We love every second of it. We wake up in the morning excited. We go to bed excited, and that's what life should be about. It shouldn't be boring. It should not be boring.
And
it shouldn't be angry.
No, and we talked about this before, but we're not trying to resonate with everybody. We're talking to a certain individual, those entrepreneurs, those people that want a better relationship with their spouse, those people that maybe want to work in business with their spouse. And that's kind of, I guess, our audience, those that want to build a more secure future and have assets and have residual income and feel in charge of their life. You and I, when we were young, one of the greatest things was when we were dating, that we just felt like we could design our life. It was so exciting. We thought, what do we want to do? It just felt like everything was wide open. And we'll get more into our backgrounds and stuff at some point, but for them, but not really feeling in charge of your life up until that point, and decisions were being made for you, the way you were brought up and the way you had certain expectations from your family and whatnot. And then when we got together, it was just like, it's like I shed a skin. Wow, I just came up with that. That was a good analogy.
Wait, I can't do
but
what
it's
they're
like
doing.
I don't know what they're doing either. Oh, they missed their turn. Sorry, we got lots of, I thought they were gonna run right into us.
See what happens when we have people want to know what we're doing. They're like,
So I kind of shed a skin, and I don't know, it wasn't like a rebirth or anything, but the excitement of starting my real life with Lynn, I don't know. I don't know if I explained this properly, but you do. You understand it. It's like designing your life and being in charge and buying real estate, because I'm going to secure my own retirement. I'm not going to work 40 years and expect Social Security and have some sort of retirement and stop working. Retirement isn't that for us. Retirement is just the freedom, which we're already there, but it's the freedom to do what you want, when you want, with who you want and where you want, and just enjoy life and not have so many have-tos in your life. One of the words I use the most lately is options. People resonate with that. Well, I do what I do, so I have options. I don't want to be pigeonholed into this path of life. I want options. I want to be able to say, you know what? I want to do that pool in our backyard. I don't want to get rid of our cash reserves or whatever. Let's go sell one of our properties and do our pool. You know what I mean? I want to have the options to be able to, I don't know, enjoy the fruits of our labor or let it continue to grow. But we're at that point at turning 53 in about a month. Is it about a month?
I think we should start like saying we're in our 30s. Oh, maybe.
No. Well, we feel like
Just
we are,
kidding.
but
You know, and another part of what you're talking about work and family.
yeah.
And for me, another really big component that you and I have is health. We believe in
That's been
being
important for a long
strong.
time.
Eating well, exercising, and that has helped our minds do so much better. And making sure that we're exercising,
Yep.
and getting a schedule. There's so many things that we all are trying to do on a daily basis to get better, and because the days do go by so fast. And so if you're not purposefully watching your time and what you're doing,
That goes hand in hand with what I
slides.
just said about being in charge of your future. I want to be healthy when I'm 80.
I do too. I mean, both
So
of us-
what we do now has to do with that, right?
We've got centurions, so I mean, both of us had
Centenarians.
Centenarian. Where centurions come from?
I don't know.
Okay, well,
Superhero
anyway.
or something. Morning.
Hey, both of us had grandparents that lived into their 90s, and so we have that to look forward to. And do we want to be
On one side of the family.
on one side of the family? Yes, on one side of the family.
I feel like I
On-
have that to look forward
And I
to.
only have that on one side of the family as well. But and my mom is super, super healthy. But I really want to be healthy through the generations so that I can set the good example for my grandchildren. Because just one grandparent that I had that was just super, super happy into her 90s set an example for me. And that it's crazy how someone can just impact you, because
Yeah.
we had grandparents that were totally opposite,
know.
that were like, I'm ready to go when I'm 60,
Well, this is a personal level for them, but one thing we brought up over the years together is when you first met my mom's mom. And you said, "How you doing?" She said, "I'm just waiting for my wings." And that was such a weird comment, meaning what? You're just waiting to
What was she
die?
like, in her late 60s?
Probably 70s
Maybe
at
early
that.
70s. You will never hear me freaking say that. Never.
But you got to pay attention to that shit, because that was a lesson. It's just like, why? Why would you have lived your whole life and not have one thing to look forward to? And
She did, though. She had her kids.
she did,
had her
but she
grandchildren.
wasn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, that's just kind of a little side note, but we've brought it up often because we feel in charge of creating situations for our future by what we do now, whether it's our health or whether it's our finances or whatever. And that's what's cool.
Legacy's a big one.
Yeah.
And that happens from, you start thinking about how your life was and what you wish you would have had or could have had or what have you, or, might have watched other people and watched how much their grandparents loved them, or just maybe what they could do
Mike's
because
coming.
there was a little bit of legacy behind them. And that's what really created my why. And here's the crazy thing, and I just thought of this. When I was a little girl, I had very, very few toys. And my mom would always try to, get rid of them. And I would say, take really good care of them. And I'd say, no, these are for my kids. And you know what? That is where the start of legacy came for me. I guess I've always been that way, because everything I've ever had has always been for my kids. And so I'd get really, really sad when my mom would get rid of something that meant a lot to me, because it was supposed to be for my kids. And my kids loved the things I saved
But
for
just
them.
let her go. Morning.
So now that I've determined that I actually started legacy when I was about 5 years old, now it even means more to me, because I thought that it
You didn't
started,
determine, you recognize that it's that old,
I
that's
recognize
been on
it's
your
that
mind.
old.
And,
That's nuts.
yeah.
Hi.
Good, you?
That is my why, and so when my kids say something like, and this is what all three of them say, is we don't need you to build for us. We're going to build ourselves. All three of them. None of them are entitled. They're all, we're going to make our own fortune. You don't need to be building this for me. And I'm like, well, you just took away my why. Don't do that. Tell me you want me to do it.
Well, you do things for the way you want to do them, not necessarily for the way they're going to be received.
Exactly.
That's your motivation. So if somebody's not going to receive the fruits of your efforts the way you want them to, that shouldn't mean you change your focus.
No, but it did change for a minute when they said that, because I was like, oh, I thought you'd be happy. But they are. They love it. They love what we're building in. And families working together can be a blast. So.
Well, awesome. Here comes the kitty. So I think we should just wrap this one up, and
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
we'll see you next week on our next Sunday walk. Let me get my little clicker thing here.
Go make it a great day. Enjoy your life. Live your life. And see you next week.
Awesome.
Hey, sweetie. You gonna get mad at my puppy?